Hi everybody, Susan Dogs here. My last vlog went too, because it was too long, it was too all over the place, it was wishy-washy, I wasn't getting to a direct point. So I've cobbled together another vlog, right, but don't worry, I'm going to pause it, right? And as I come to pieces what are relevant, then I will read them and I'll make sure that they... Oh, really well, I ask it here, to make sure everything is working. My last vlog was too long, too boring, too off tangents, so I've nailed it to a subject, right? My subject's going to be, my introduction is, right, is, would our world have been a different place, and if so, how different would it have been if we had not got involved in the petrochemical industry, or it had gone a different route, or whatever, right? Just petrochemical industry never happened. Apparently they started finding land oil about 1875, right? And think how many wars were going on already around that time. They knew that stuff was there. That was just when they announced it. They knew that stuff was there. They knew the potential of it. They tell us that petrol was a waste product of it, and they was like looking for an engine what would suit a plane, and you know the combustion engine that suited the bill, and it had run on petrol, a waste product from the fucking lamp oil they were using oil for. I don't believe it one bit. My battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna have to pause this. And I don't know, I think I'm on a flow here as well. But what I will do though is I'll go away and I'll research more about this, because I think it's a really interesting question. Like, we could have been living like, like, them times before it fully kicked in, the Edison shit. Before, it could have been like Nikola Tesla technology even. We could have had dirigibles tied to the fucking Empire State Building. Look at them things and look at dirigibles and tell me they don't go together. And it was a psyop that they blew up the Hindenburg. Martin's quite right, and I knew that for a long time, because they could have used a non-flammable gas. And the reporter crying and all. It's just, I remember watching it with my dad when I was a kid. My dad just going, that was as much expression as you got from him sober. How much energy have I got in this thing? Why don't you just tell me the simple things in life? 15%, it's not so bad, I'll keep going. As long as it don't start losing charge. As long as you want me to. Right, so iron production refers to an iron age. Right, we're going to go back to the early stage of the iron ages, right? Because according to mankind, was there something happened? There was a reset, and we have to start again. We have to find, because everything got turned back to iron ore and such, and we had to start it all again. And very few of us had the knowledge. There was very scant knowledge about. So a lot of it was trial and error, and a lot of it was a bit of handed down knowledge what had gone through the ages to us. Information in them days was totally powerful. Say you were a guy who knew something, and they won't let you out of the castle, man. You were kept in there, because if your enemies caught you, you're dangerous to them. You can, you prisoner in gilded cells. That's what Da Vinci were. He was a prisoner in a gilded cell. They wouldn't let anyone else near him, man. But here's something that I'm interested in, is slag formation, because slag formation and what gets classed as megalithic rock are often confused. And I think a lot of what we see is slag from a process, what happened, either natural industrial processes or a one-off, or an event what led to a chain of intense events. which created slag formation where we call it something else. Geology's whack. I don't know fuck all about geology. I've got a geology GSE book from 1970, so it's probably more real than the ones they get now. Shows a guy up to his car in mud, it's up to his windows and he's walking along. I shared it in Flat Earth British, but it got taken down. And then I shared it, I don't know, it started popping up all over anyway, like, I was glad to see it was popping up a couple of places. See, we could go right off on a tangent here. But what I'll do is, right, we'll go back. When was oil discovered, right? They found metal, right? They have metal. Right, straight away, you see, it was petroleum is not of recent origin, but petroleum's current status as a key component of politics, society and technology has its roots in earlier 20th century. I think it's got its roots a lot earlier than that. I think these guys had the foresight to see exactly what they found, not know exactly what to do with it and how to deal with it and how to go, but they knew that they had the tech, they would have the tech, they'd have the engineers, they'd have the people who could totally exploit this stuff and just change the simplified way I put it is they started synthesizing things, like we started getting petrol chemical products, didn't we? Plastic bags, plastic sheeting, you know, plastic raincoats. I don't know what the first plastic products were. Plastic bags. It just became such a easy, cheap toys. Even as a kid, I remember like toy cars went from having metal bumpers to having plastic, and everything used to say made in Hong Kong, and I believe now that was since like, so we weren't buying off a communist country sort of thing. Anyway, you know, reasons of that, and Hong Kong was a British constitution, which I won't go into now, but we spoke about yesterday, an empire at sea. These empires at sea have been the same people all along. They go to a country, they fucking burn it down one way or another, and then they slide into another country. They've already built up an establishment in another country, and then they take over there. They get these countries in positions where they've no chance of doing anything else, of taking any other option, yet to yield to these people. And they've eaten up country after country through all different means, going back to the First World War, slaughtering millions of European men to get their bloodline everywhere and all the rest of it. I showed you yesterday how Saladin was a Knights Templar. Do you think he'd let them go with all that treasure when he captured loads of them? Do you think that's how it worked in them days? They made him a Knights Templar. He was one of them, so he let them go as a brother. Pause, right, we'll go to we're on oil. So early history, according to hereditaries, more than 4,000 years ago, national asphalt was employed in the construction of the walls and the towers of Babylon. So they knew about oil back then and its properties. They wouldn't have just fucking used it because it was sticky, but they knew. Great quantities were found on the banks of the river Isis, which is one of the tributaries of the Euphrates, and is well confirmed by Diodorus Siculus. Herodotus mentions such pitch spring on Zakynthos, Ionian Islands, Greece. Also, Herodotus described a well for bitumen and oil. In China, petroleum was used for more than 2,000 years ago. In I Ching, one of the earliest Chinese writings, Thus, the use of its oil on its raw state without refining was first discovered, extracted, and used in China in the 1st century. The Chinese were the first to use petroleum as fuel as early as the 4th century BC. This is just, when I read this first time, I was like, what? The earliest known oil wells were drilled in China in 3547 or earlier. They had depths of 800 feet, were drilled using bits attached to bamboo poles. Bamboo is still used as scaffold today. See, nature has an answer for everything we need. Nature will give it us a bit of ingenuity and nature, and we can do it. We don't need to synthesize everything. What doesn't need synthesizing? Just to create revenue streams of cash that we don't need. We only need so much. We can only wear one pair of socks at a time, one pair of shoes at a time, drive one car at a time. I'm not near a communist. I want to see everybody at a decent state of wealth. And I'm not saying wealth buys happiness, but I've been poor and unhappy, and I've had money and been unhappy, and being poor and unhappy is worse than being unhappy and having money. More common said but that the lead singer of Soft Cell, but I've also come to agree with him over the years. Right, so they first started digging them. The streets of Baghdad were paved with tar derived from petroleum. So they had tarmac pavements. It's everything but tarmac Adam in it. They're just not calling it that because that weren't invented till the Scottish Enlightenment or whatever. And it's just bullshit. Everything we've ever got, we've stolen and then written up in the history books. What we've been told in the 20th century, that the white man went out there and did this, did that, showed the natives this, showed them that. The only ones weren't like we proper bushmen and all that. All we did was fuck them up. We fucked the rest of them up basically as well, but they could hack it because in that they was already, out the game, so to speak. But they did it all on a imbalance with nature level, and it worked. Well, the first streets of Baghdad were paved with tar derived from petroleum that became accessible from natural fields in the region. In the 9th century, oil fields were exploited in and around the modern Baku, Azerbaijan. These fields were described by the Arab geographer Abu el-Hasan in the 10th century and by Marco Polo bullshitter in the 13th century, who described the output of those wells of hundreds of shiploads. The distillation of petrol was discovered in detail by Persian chemists such as Muhammad Zakhariev Razi in the 9th century. There was production of chemicals such as kerosene and albamic, which was mainly used for chemistry in lamps. Arab and Persian chemists also distilled crude oil to produce flammable products for military purposes, flamethrowers. Though Islamic Spain, distillation available in Western Europe by the 12th century through Islamic Spain, so it passed down through the Moors. The Templars got all the technology because they were all around there at the same time, and they're all part of the same brotherhood. It had also been present in Romania since the 13th century. The earliest mention of petroleum in the Americas occurs to Sir Walter Raleigh's account of the Trinidad Pitch Lake in 1595, or 37 years. The account of a visit of a Franciscan, here we go, to the oil springs of New York was published in Gabriel Sabrel's Historia de Canada, a Finnish-born Swede scientist and student. in his work Travels in North America, published in 1753, showing a map showing the oil springs of Pennsylvania. The modern industry began in the 19th century with refining of paraffin from crude oil. The Scottish chemist James Young in 1847 noticed the natural petroleum seepage as the Riddings Colliery at Atherton, Derbyshire, from which he distilled a light thin oil substitute for use as lamp oil. See, it was all by happenstance, if you believe them. Why would he put in so much money into what was just a lamp oil? Look, where was the first oil in the world discovered? On August 28th, George Bissell in East Owen made the first successful use of drilling a rig on a well. But that wasn't its first use, it had been used for thousands of years before then. But no, they just tell us we found it and we invented all this tech from it. I think they realised that oil had a dark side and it was against nature, and working with the right side of nature is what we needed to do. We took the wrong path, I think. Because just think what came with plastic, petrochemical industry, what would it have been like out there? They'd have had like steam cars, which would have been vastly improved now. They'd probably had electric cars, unless we'd have had to dig for rare earth minerals and all that, but I'm sure we could have come up with a better solution. They've got cars what can run on hydrogen, water and on salt and all sorts. Couldn't run on fucking whiskey for fuck's sake. You know what I'm saying? Why don't we do that? Why don't we just make whiskey just to run on fucking motors on? Right, over and out, just like alright vlog for a Saturday night, y'all. Take care, peace out, y'all.